India is to contribute 25% of GDP of the global, which went down to 4% before independence. That time industrialization started, and Indian textiles were very much famous for. I mean, before British came itself. During industrialization, what happened is that the Britons wanted to stop the Indian industry.
You cannot destroy our livelihood.
So that's why there's a lot of systematic kind of effort that's been put in, and they want to import that and sell it at a cheaper cost. You know about the Gandhi movement of Charkha and Khadi and everything. So that's the main genesis of the idea.
Make in India.
As not taking salary for initial probably 2 years around.
What was MBA teaching you if it's not teaching you?
They don't teach you to be founder. They teach you to be... Another element that we are doing is that you add the story and every step. So every step you are sharing photos and videos of the processes. Today's consumer don't just want the product, they want a story out of it, right? So they're looking for what story behind this product. If somebody sells a better story, they'll buy from there.
What is difficult about being founder?
There's so much...
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Elsonomics, where we study success like a student. In this episode, I have yet another founder with me. Super excited to introduce our speaker today, Mr. Amit Singha. Welcome to Elsonomics, sir.
Thank you so much, Elson.
Tell us about yourself here, and I would love to hear from the horse's mouth itself. Who are you? I know you're the founder of Anuprerna.com, but what were you before that? Tell us from the beginning.
So thank you so much for inviting me for this. My name is Amit Singha, and I come from a very small village in West Bengal. There's around, from Kolkata, it's around 2 hours by drive, where actually is my hometown and also where the headquarters of Anuprena is also built on. So a little bit of background about me and also about Anuprena is that I come from a place which used to be a, place for the artisans. So I have seen those artisans. My father was involved in certain capacity with the artisans. I've seen those artisans while growing up.
What is this place called?
This place called Bardhaman. A little bit from my dad's side that he wanted me to kind of try something in that field, see if you can try to do. So for me, it's like after MBA, anything is like an industry.
It came out of, say, a need, right? Because I remember seeing that Humans of Bombay post where it was mentioned that your dad reached out to you with a message saying, hey, I need you, or something like that. What was your dad doing exactly? Because I think Anuprena or some form of it started in 1983-87, is it?
So Anuprena started as a company in end of 2020. But my dad had been working, as I was telling you, with the artisans while I was growing up that time. And he had been running his firm, which in a small capacity. And but he had also come for the idea of business, which is not much in Bengal. If you see, most of the Bengalis are not businessmen, unlike Gujaratis and what you see.
What are most Bengalis usually? They're more like, I know they're very educated. And
yeah, that's very educated. They'll find them probably doing PhD and teaching anywhere.
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
I think that risk-taking ability is less as overall it happens in terms of like doing business. But education-wise is pretty strong because whoever is educated in Bengali, they'll do something good, not in the field of business probably. So what happened is that, first of all, that market kind of shifted towards that industrialization, like the factories coming up with and man-made fibers, if you know the textiles a little bit, polyester, which came from. So that kind of started shifting that artisanal industry, which used to be very natural, sustainable and all those, which shifted to that low cost. So that kind of artisanal belt also went to extinct. People like my dad, who used to work with the artisans, kind of had to find some alternative. Majorly, India is known for artisanal industry a lot. India is to contribute 25% of GDP of the global, which went down to 4% before independence. That time industrialization started, and Indian textiles were very much famous for. I mean, before British came itself. And it was the artisans and textiles industry was there, which is the handloom artisans and handmade artisans who used to weave their own textiles and everything. And then during industrialization, what happened is that the Britons started doing in their factories in Britain, it's much cheaper products. So they wanted to stop the Indian industry. So that's why there's a lot of systematic kind of effort that's been put in, and they want to import that and sell it at a cheaper cost. That's how the Gandhi movement started. If you know about the Gandhi movement of Charkha and Khadi and everything. So that's the main genesis of the idea. Like it can be a textile, it can be wooden stuff, it can be jewelry. So a lot of handcrafted things there. Within that, if you are hand woven, which is like weaving the idea, that's in textile sector. sector, which we are focused on at the moment. So that is also very much prominent in India, and especially where I come from, Bengal is known for that kind of industry to a lot. So there are still a lot of artisans that rely on these as a craft. I mean, it has gone extinct to the extent possible, but still we believe and we have seen like there's a lot of supply than the demand, who probably so the new generation unfortunately is not into this, but the older generation is like living on this as a craft only. There's main source of income. So that's still, and these are actually working from their homes in like remote villages.
You don't find it, to be honest. When I had recently gone to Calcutta,
Yeah.
and when I usually travel, I like to bring something from the city. Right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to find something, and I asked people what's good. Then they were like, biryani is good, kathi rolls are good. Then I was like, okay, what are some places to go to? So then they were like, there's this Park Street, there's a nice market and all of that. And we were actually searching for it. Yeah. And you'd be surprised. So this was a wedding. So I had seen, the traditional Bengali kurta. I couldn't find that itself, and then I could only find like a half sleeve. So then I was like, it's not, it's hard to find.
You won't find the artisans for sure, but you will find some companies who are probably working with the artisans and creating some product. And it's usually, if you have to find the artisans, you have to go for fairs. So there's a lot of fairs happens, some initiative by government a little bit that happens. Khadi Mela and some kind of melas happens here and there. There probably you'll meet some artisans sometime. Yeah.
So just to draw the picture, we have handmade, which is like the larger circle. Within that, hand woven is where you specialize in.
Hand woven textiles. So handcrafted products, which can be any kind of products. Within that, if we talk about textile and fashion, so that's hand woven textiles. Yeah. Where
is
we
there
specialize.
A breakdown in terms of men, women? How is that numbers?
So textiles can be anything. This is a raw material. Like what I'm wearing, it's our textiles.
This is the Anuprerna.
This is Anuprena, one of the Anuprena textiles. Any kind of raw material can be textiles. So that's the fabric of it, what you're thinking about. And from that, you can make women, men, kids, anything. Home, textiles, everything you can build.
Just to bring this up, Anuprena is B2B, right? Or do you do B2C also? Or were you ever B2C? Any reason why you chose B2B? Talk a little bit of the market, because when I go through your website, I see the reviews from people from New Zealand, US, etc. So tell us a little bit more.
As I was telling you, a little bit connecting from what I was telling you, from that the artisanal kind of product demand for that kind of dwindles over the years. For me, the first thing I wanted to do, like there are two things I wanted to do. One is that target international market, because it's a little premium market. It reduced because of the price sensitivity in Indian market. So Indians are very price sensitive.
So artisanal products are more expensive.
More expensive. Will be because, a
machine, more effort.
His machine is making the same product in 1 hour. That artisan is taking 1 day. So, and he is to earn a lot more than, obviously, somebody has to pay for it and understand it. So that's what, it's obviously price sensitive, but still there's a lot of demand this product, because India is the only country that's exporting and that can produce this kind of goods. Apart from probably there are a few others as well. From a textile perspective, India is the main country. I mean, you can
find number one.
In the terms of textile making. So that's like textile industry. Now you go to apparel industry, garments industry, that's like stitching. What do you see?
Apparel is a subset of textile.
Apparel is you come vertically integrated. If you go up the value chain, you will find apparel, because out of textile you're making apparel. Then you see Bangladesh, which become known for apparel, then Vietnam and other Asian countries also. I want to do two things. One is that creating an international demand, and second thing is digital, make it digital. Unfortunately, this industry is very difficult to make it digital because this needs a lot of physical feel and touch. You can't just showcase a product like it's a video and people will buy it. So we'll have to kind of come up with a
video pop-up studios and
you need some way to do it. So that's how we did. So Anuprena, what we did essentially is that for internationally, doing internationally B2C from India is a little difficult. But B2B something you can track, because a lot of people are looking for this, and they instead come buy from us and sell it to B2C on their respective countries. So that's how we go into B2B. And the way we did is that the online platform that we made is kind of mimics the journey of a B2B buyer, where if you see our website, we have given very detailed, comprehensive kind of website where you don't just buy the product. We have talked about a lot about how the process behind the product, who is making it, people, a lot of these things have been, spoken, so that people come and first, they become aware of these crafts, like what's happening behind it. If they price something they can see, but if they have to justify why I'm paying the price, they need to also see that. So that kind of thing. And then after, obviously, they don't want to believe in a brand from other side of the globe, right? So that's what we do is that we have a sampling concept. We can purchase samples instead of buying the products directly. And that's how we started B2B. And then you can purchase these textiles from us and make any product out of it. So that's how we slowly expanded from textile to products. So Anuprena is a Hindi word.
Sanskrit
it's a Bengali word as well,
which
means inspiration.
And why did you come up with this name?
So there is two stories. One is my father, whose name is Anup. So that's Anup comes, and Prerna, which is just the inspiration. Usually Anuprerna also means to inspire. So I wanted to give back to my roots, which I'm coming, and probably inspire to other people. There are a lot of fair happens, trade fairs for international people to discover this kind of textile from a different region. They'll have to see via online, obviously always there, but it's not much prominent. Another option is that trade fair happens. So this exhibition happens. If you see, it's whatever exhibition you see in India as well, that's the same thing happens there. So a lot of Indian exporter, they go to the exhibition, they book a stall and they present. That's how they find out. During COVID, there's no option on that. So majorly they started looking online, I think. So that one shift obviously was there. And during that time only we went online. So we found some traction either because of that or just because being online. And then how we saw that there is a digital demand, and then we started going from there. Yeah.
Tell me those days, right? So you 2015 to 2020, those days when you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And that's an important part because a lot of people, even those who are watching this, they are probably in their corporates. They know their parents are doing something and they're thinking of, hey, maybe I can help them. What was that journey like? Was it planned? Was it easy? Any story from those days when someone is thinking about going from corporate to startup? The biggest thing that they have to fight is not the ideas and all, is their mental strength, the opportunity cost, itna paisa bana sakta tha udhar. So all of those.
I think financially that time I was not in pressure that like somebody's financially dependent on me. This is a good thing. Like my wife was we are married and she was earning well, and we didn't have any children or something, so she was not there. So that was one factor. Obviously I had the chance to kind of go and try out something. I was not confident in person that I can do it, because you become aware of these things so much early, right? In our generation is the last generation probably who got to know there's usually a traditional path. So I think we had to find it by getting into it. So that's what I did, like directly jumping into and learning.
So, but what was it like? What was the thing that motivated you during the hard days of, to become a founder? Was it, no, I need to be a founder and, chart my own business? Or was it, it'll be cool to try it out? Or is it like, I need to carry my dad's legacy? And dive deeper in terms of, assume like I am a person in my coffee and I'm thinking I want to jump into entrepreneurship.
The main trigger, I'll say that obviously my dad wanted it. So that had an impact on me. So he wanted me to try, and I wanted to try it. And second thing is that in corporate, I was not finding that satisfaction that I am doing anything meaningful. Unfortunately, probably whatever its reason, we did not do any much activity during my stint in my work. So I was thinking like, if I have to spend this many hours doing something, let's do something that, on my own or something like that. Learning on YouTube, majorly there are courses, Coursera or something like that. I was taking up some course and learning. So that learning what kind of, makes you like, but it was difficult in the sense financially, you are obviously, I was not taking salary for initial probably 2 years,
I mean, that's something that even, I know a lot of people go through where they are like, opportunity cost. They start asking those kind of questions. Should I be doing something else? The stress, of some days, and I was just telling you that, like some days you wake up like, I want to change the world. I'm going to, do this. And the other days you're just like, I want to put the blanket over me. I don't want to wake up. Do you go through those, and how do you stomach that? What do you tell yourself? And it's okay, even if you're going through, those sort of things, because that kind of helps, because what you have built right now is huge. And you're super modest, and I keep telling you that you're not, stop being modest, but your journey is impressive. So I want people to understand what it really takes.
Learned over time is that it's better to be like calm about any kind of, because being a founder or being entrepreneur is very difficult.
What is difficult about being founder?
There's so much uncertainty that will keep coming at you at every time. You become accustomed to those uncertainties. I mean, Elon Musk, how he says, he's like eating glass or something every day. So that's, he has built something completely different. But I'm just saying, even for a small companies, you have to build with much knowledge about startups and building. If you have to build, it will come like that itself. It will be very difficult. If you don't stay calm and like understand it and probably give your time, it will be difficult. If you react too much, it will be obviously difficult. And for me to sustain, throughout the period is majorly, as I'm telling you, is learning something new. And there are some inspirations that will come. Even if it once a week, you'll see that, okay, I'm building something. It's not going to change the world, it's changing something. But along with that comes that uncertainty. So if you stick to it for a good amount of time, eventually you try to get the benefit out of it.
So that's something that I've heard. Like initially you jump in with all this excitement, yeah, you do it. Very quickly you're like, okay. And all this uncertainty hits you. And then that's when most people just give up.
Yeah.
But then I hear that the stories, I stuck with it for 3 years, 4 years, and then it just changed. And you think that just happens?
That is, I think, bound to happen. And at the end of it, that what people say now, people have different horizon, like how long they want to do. And that's obviously, there's a lot of, you can't identify people and say that way because there's a lot of background that will come in, the financial situation, family situation, a lot of things can come in. But usually if you stick to it, it gets easier and easier. So you'll accustom to the uncertainties, so it doesn't bother you much, as become part of your life and part of the business.
What is slow fashion?
So this slow fashion, sustainable fashion, both goes together. Slow fashion, if you depict the meaning of slow, process is slow. So it takes long time to prepare.
This is the opposite of your Zara's and
So which is fast fashion and slow fashion. Two kind of fashions are there. So like fast fashion is you're developing the products very fast. So suppose you have a new designs, you'll have to launch it in a month. So you'll have to do the all process very fast. And in that process, by default, it's not very sustainable because you'll have to do very machine who can churn out a lot faster product. If you work with people and make them work extra hours to churn out, faster products, so that it becomes non-sustainable in the process. Opposite to that, slow fashion, where you take your own time, you prioritize, this environmental factor, ethical factor, the people you're working with, are they benefiting from that, or they are well off or not? Are you doing any environmental impact? So those kind of things, when it comes in, this become a slow process, and slow fashion is sustainable in that way. Now, one thing you talked about, it's interesting, that why can't the artisans shift to a machines and do a better job? So that's what I personally believe in. That's what we think that there is a change happening, and industrialization will bring some change. So I was telling you initially, India is known for that artisanal kind of economy. So there are artisans who know only that kind of work, and they were working from their homes, which is rural villages. So that's a slow fashion we are going after, and then in that process, we're inculcating the process of sustainability in terms of natural fiber. We're using organic and products, and so that's something also adding to that economy.
So there's the ethical part of it and the environmental part.
Yeah.
And in terms of quality, is the machine made better or is the hand woven better? Because when I get something, say from a Zara or a Zudio, I know it'll last me like a year. I'm very careful of it. And so what are all the reasons why someone should go for artisan woven?
Whoever is selling the product, whoever is making the product, they have to ensure the quality. Either it's coming from a
it doesn't
factory
matter if it's
or from an artisans. Now the thing is that with artisans, the quality, inherent nature of the quality is much better, right? Because it's made with love and made with more of an effort and time. So it's more than the quality, it's something very different. Little bit in depth into the industry, how we are different from what's out there. So what happens usually, if you understand this artisanal sector, is known for making saris is a product that you know of. A lot of brands are selling saris and everything. The thing is that most of the brands out there was digitally available brands, a marketplace. They you can take a Fab India or something like that. They have obviously built a name for themselves and working with artists for a long time. But usually most of these artisans are building their own products. So there it can be one artisans. Most likely it's not one artisans. It's a group of artisans, probably 10 to 15, which is led by somebody. Somebody has to kind of work with them. Not business guy per se. This is somebody who is staying in the villages. You can say agent who is working with the artisans and bringing work for them. So he becomes a middleman.
So he finds a group of artisans and he becomes the
So he
agent.
built a business from there, kind of, broker kind of, and he's obviously adding value in terms of the artisans providing raw material or something. In this case, usually the artisans sometimes do their own and they don't have a lot of financial understanding and the need. So what they do, they procure raw material, they process and they make the products, and that's how big brands who are probably selling online, they are buying them whatever value.
They call these agents.
They call these agents. They are buying from them and selling them at a profit. Second thing, that we are reducing the financial liability for the artisans because they don't have to buy products and hold up that cost and sell it at a later stage.
You handle the inventory. You basically hire them as
a contractor. So that's the one thing impact wise we're doing. But second thing, they don't want the financial liability of sourcing this and holding it. Suppose it doesn't sell.
Tell us a little bit about this, since you mentioned team. How big is your team right now? The manufacturing facility. Do you have an office? How does all of that look? So paint that bigger picture of.
We're still a very small team. So we have around 25 full-time.
25 full-time folks.
25 full-time folks and around 10 people who are into manufacturing, probably part-time, that's out there. So artisans are, apart from this around 300 artisans. We worked in a year on a continuous basis, probably 100 150 artisans that are working on a daily level. You can say that we're giving some works, they're working with us. So these are informal artisans economy.
What do these 25 people do?
So
are they the master artisans?
No. 25 people are like company people. So
Like
there's
marketing and
corporate, you can
websites
say.
and all. When it was 2020, how many people were there? How did you scale that? So paint that picture.
Majorly initially 2020 we incorporated the company, which is end around it. 2021 we started earning through the company the revenue, which is majorly digital and online.
And you can also share those numbers if you're comfortable with it, or any ballpark numbers.
We are very small. We are running an AR of 3 crores at the moment. I think a little beyond that. For me myself, the idea of startup kind of slowly came into the picture, where I became aware of what is the startup economy. That's something is a revelation for me, because I was not into that system. Because in my engineering and MBA, unfortunately, there's not many people who are.
MBA doesn't teach you about business.
Nowadays they're teaching probably in my time probably less. And I come from IIM Calicut. That also in 2015 there's not much. Now I think there's a lot of changes happening, but that time it is not. So you don't learn that idea of startups and building startups. Not there.
What was MBA teaching if it's not teaching about?
They don't teach you to be founder. They teach you to be manage people. That is to be a corporate. They teach you how to manage.
Right.
So that's essentially in a corporate who is a large team, how to manage a team. They don't teach you the idea of how to build it. We launched our own website properly 2023 end. 2024 onwards, it's a new website that is started with, and we're doing total kind of changes. And then at the same time, another thing that we have done is launch our proprietary tool called Artisan Flow. I don't know if you have seen on our website.
The product demo is there.
Product demo is there. So that's something is a supply chain tool where what we have done is that the whole process of the artisan economy, we bring the efficiency and transparency into the supply chain by bifurcating that process into multiple stages. For any kind of end product, whatever we're wearing shirt or something, it has to come from, first is the fiber, which is the raw material yarn that you have to make, which if is made in cotton, it will be planted. It's a cotton plant. Multiple process goes behind it. Usually it happens via machines.
And how long does that take?
We don't work in that supply chain, but usually it'll take probably 1 month for them.
So you get the fiber.
So we just directly sometimes get the fiber, sometimes get the yarn itself, which is the final yarn that we weave, like thread.
What is this thing called Ahimsa silk?
Ahimsa silk is another kind of silk. So silk is different. So silk, what you see, so that's a premium. That's not farmed in a farmland. So the silk comes from insects. So that's sericulture process is called, where
silkworm that eats mulberry.
Silkworms that eats the mulberry plant and everything, and then getting the threads out of them. You are essentially on the Ahimsa silk, because not many people know about this. So what happens is when you get this fiber out of them, ideally you want a very fine and smooth material. You'll have to get the fiber without any cut in that, and that you can't get without killing the worms. But in Ahimsa, what happens, you don't kill the cocoons, you let them break the cocoons and fly away as a butterfly. So in that way you get broken fibers that you bind together to come up with something that becomes a little rough texture, but it has the shine and premiumness, but it's not very smooth like that. So that's what the Ahimsa silk comes from, and we work with that kind of silk as well. So that's why first is that organic farming or farming that happens. It can be organic or how we want to do it, and then it comes to the fiber stage, and then it's going to spinning, which is hand spinning, and then it goes to weaving, which is in our case it's going to the artisans, and then it's coming to the fiber. It goes to fabric. It's coming as plain fabric, and it goes to QC, and then it goes to stitching for something, and then it goes to embroidery or something like that after that. So what we've done essentially in the technology, that software we built, we divide that in every step. We show it that this takes 7 days, this takes probably 7 days. For our B2B buyers who are buying from us, for them we bifurcate that into stages, and we, as soon as they order, because it's slow fashion, it will take long time. So for them, sometime what happens is 2 months they're waiting. You also waiting for, you don't know how the product will turn out. So in this case, what we're trying to do is that first one is transparent for us, transparent for the end clients. They're able to see, okay, this stage of the process the product is right now in. Another element that we are doing is that you add the story and every step. So every step you are sharing photos and videos of the processes, like artisan making, who is the artisans making it. Obviously, so they're saying the photos, and as a brand, if somebody is building an ethical brand, they want the stories to share with their consumer. This is how built. So the real time, they're able to see
They are also able to use those stories in their marketing.
their marketing. They can use, and they're able to see that, okay, this is the journey that the product right now in, that will take probably in a few more days. So the opportunity, obviously, it's mammoth, because the thing is changing a lot. Right now, what we say is, Anuprerna, that we believe that today's consumer don't just want the product, they want a story out of it, right? So they're looking for what story behind this product. You can obviously build like fast fashion, so that's a different kind of, where you're not seeing the story, you're just buying the clothes. But if you want to build something, that scenario is changing. It's changing in the Western economy, especially Europe. You won't find much fast fashion success still there in younger generation probably, but if you go little, they become lot more aware of the environmental impact and everything. They're looking for this kind of products, and it's bound to come.
So this is traditionally not a VC backed, it's a bootstrap profitability.
Yeah, so most of the companies that you find there, they are profit. It's very easy to get profitable. You will get good business, profitable business, but scaling is a challenge, because in apparel industry, what we have seen, like, people are not they don't like stick to a brand. Like, they don't fall in love with a brand per se. Loyalty to a brand, loyalty more of the product is there. If somebody sells a better story, they'll buy from there. That's the challenge, one thing. But obviously, you can bring that moat around stories. So there's a brand like, I don't know if you know Patagonia, there's a brand, if you've heard of it.
So the jackets, Patagonia vests
jackets,
and all that.
so usually. So the year built fully around sustainability, environment.
A lot of VCs wear the Patagonia jacket.
Yeah, I mean, so they obviously built a moat around that, building the sustainable angle, and obviously they have done a lot more thing around through adventure sports and everything.
How much, say for example, if I buy a shirt for say 5,000, 10,000 from a B2C, what is the cost breakdown? How much does the brand take? How much does the B2B take? How much can I buy it from you?
Any B2C brand, if you see their, if they have to sustainably scale, there's a gross margin which they say that at least 70% you'll have to keep. So if you're buying something of, say 100 rupees, 70 and 30 rupees is the cost.
I think I want to talk about I think we missed that part, the sustainability about yours. How do you how do you balance life?
I started as a solo entrepreneur. Now I'm building a team and everything. So I've bought a co-founder, everything. It's very, first of all, is only thing you can do is being disciplined. That's something is very much needed, that life. So within discipline, there comes the elements of obviously better, healthy lifestyle and everything. So that's something is not because of entrepreneurship that I've learned. That's something I've seen, like, it's the best way to go. Like, if you want to, being mentally and physically healthy.
I think it's about when you're running a company, you want to give it your best shot. And when you're giving it your best shot, you want to be in your peak performance, right? Is that the case?
If you have to run a company, first of all, there's another way to look at it. You have to run a company, it will not be successful in 5 years or 3 years. You give it a long horizon of 10 years, 20 years. If you don't, by the time you die, then what's the point of building this?
Awesome, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for inviting me, and thank you so much for this again.